Once you start, you can't finish. The madness continues. Before we start, guys, I wanted to show you how the YouTube algorithm really works, because I figured that out. The program algorithm that promotes the monetized channels still works. That's why I keep my channel monetized. But here's what they do to get rid of these channels. I mean, the channels that promote the alternative information. They put their videos in the recommendations of the content that is not quite like related to what I'm trying to put in my videos. So it's quite a different story. For example, my March Madness video was put in the recommendations to the viewers of this video.
Welcome everyone, Dr. Mandel here. I'd like to share some great facial exercises to tighten and tone your skin, to help your wrinkles and prevent others from occurring.
Obviously, people that watched my video after watching the anti-wrinkle exercise video left my video rather quickly, because most of them were not ready to watch my content at all. So this is what gives the algorithm the chance to shadow ban my video from other impressions and decreases, if not kills, the views potential. Please help the videos to be promoted. Sharing them in your social media platform, guys, or at least write a couple of comments, on each topic covered today, and it will surely support my efforts to bring this real information to the community. Okay, so this is a yellow badge content and it's not appropriate to most advertisers, and will be soon available to the members only. Today we are going to talk about Carabinieri, the modern bomberos joining the worldwide reset rehearsal. Merkel's testament. Pandora box was opened and the elites are not ready.
Experts say 60 to 70% of the population will be infected.
Afghanistan-Taliban deal.
Now, the US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says the agreement is a crucial first step towards peace.
This agreement will mean nothing. First, keep your promises to cut ties with al-Qaeda and other terrorists. Keep up the fight to defeat ISIS.
Oil prices drop. Stock markets reset. Follow the money.
He got me invested in some kind of fruit company. And so then I got a call from him saying we don't have to worry about money no more. And I said, that's good. One less thing.
Putin, never-ending story. I'll be back.
What do you say? He say, go and kiss your mother's behind.
Carabinieri, the modern bomberos joining the worldwide reset rehearsal. An Italian police service is called Carabinieri. They have the same emblem as the 19th century bomberos firemen. So they have reset traditions and are perfect in containing the masses during any type of extraordinary event. The situation in Italy is way more extraordinary, amid higher average age of Italians. They have an average of 47 years old, which is a huge difference in comparison with 37 of China.
Italy is expanding travel restrictions for the entire country, locking down 60 million people to contain the coronavirus outbreak. The unprecedented move follows another spike in deaths from the virus, despite a strict quarantine imposed in the north. A ban on public gatherings now applies to all regions, and people would only be allowed to travel for work or family emergencies. Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte is urging all citizens to stay at home.
It's the time to recall what people used to say about the flu. My host father from Wyoming told me they used to say that the flu is the old man's best friend. But anyways, for those who was saying about the fake virus, it's around time to correct themselves.
In the land of China, people hardly got nothing at all.
No possessions?
And in China, they never go to church.
No religion, too?
Oh. Hard to imagine.
Well, it's easy if you try, Dick.
The Chinese managed to contain the virus spread. Probably will remain to be a huge problem for China for quite a long period. They say like it's going to be ending in June, but I doubt that. But the EU countries are not ready at all, from what I can see. Meanwhile, the neighboring EU countries closing the borders with Italy, France, Spain, and many more. Like, no air transportation anymore, no trains and stuff like this, so it's like quarantine situation, right?
To keep new cases from entering our shores, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. The new rules will go into effect Friday at midnight. There will be exemptions for Americans who have undergone appropriate screenings, and these prohibitions will not only apply to the tremendous amount of trade and cargo, but various other things as we get approval. Anything coming from Europe to the United States is what we are discussing. These restrictions will also not apply to the United Kingdom.
Meanwhile, modern bomberos are practicing the reset operation procedures. Total quarantine is the time of their life.
Ehi, che c'è? Un gabbiano morto.
Un gabbiano?
Morto.
Dov'è? Dov'è?
Thinking about how many people can just disappear, referring to virus threat, is the best excuse to get rid of unwanted individuals. By the way, they get your DNA samples, store it in the database, and who knows what result you may get, right? It looks like a huge rehearsal operation where bomberos are practicing their methods of containing the large masses, selecting the so-called sick people, and putting them and their families in a situation of no choice, right? Quarantine in Russian sounds like quarantine, which is the same as kara, punishment, korol, king, korona, crown. Has the same roots as carabinieri, kara, punishment, being one or personal, individual. So it's like individual punishment, this carabinieri. We even have the same rifle called karabin. So all of this leads us to make a conclusion that this is an act of abuse, a punishment for the people, the quarantine. Restricting the freedom of movement, communication, education, and so on. I wonder if the conference in Italy was scheduled to be in March only to get rid of all the truthers. People were inviting me to go there. I hope there's no one actually going anywhere. Let's see. We'll see. Merkel's testament. Pandora box was open and why the EU elites were not ready.
Weiter muss man verstehen, wenn das Virus da ist.
You have to understand that if the virus is there and the population has no immunity yet to this virus, there are no vaccines and no therapies so far, that a high percentage, experts say 60 to 70% of the population, will be infected as long as this situation continues.
Angela Merkel, the top leader of the EU, said that up to 60-70% of German population could be infected by the notorious COVID-19. This did remind me of making a post on the hidden message of Madonna's last year Eurovision contest performance.
Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is learning from the past.
Not everyone is going to make it to see the upcoming future, she was literally seen. And now we know that it's closer than ever to be true.
In the past 2 weeks, the number of cases of COVID-19 outside China has increased 13-fold, and the number of affected countries has tripled. There are now more than 118,000 cases in 114 countries, and 4,291 people have lost their lives. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
These events have nothing to do with 5G damaging the oxygen. There is no 5G in Italy, as far as I know, so we have to stop this BS theory, because misinforming can do a lot of harm.
Calm down.
It's okay, I'm sorry.
He apologized.
It's my fault.
He apologized.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what? That didn't upset me. But the bitch-ass hoe
Sorry.
that told me to calm down.
This type of coronavirus is a biological weapon, nothing else. And it was created to punish the Chinese economy, but the EU elites were not ready for such explosive script and acted stupid at first. Now when it's too late, they are trying to act like everything is okay to those who are under contained quarantine restrictions for several weeks or even months now. The crown needs more sacrificed victims. Bears are in control of stock market trends.
Equity markets, as evaluations have come down over these concerns. To say it's the bottom, I think, is a tough call from here, because we still have to see that.
So we can only pray the EU will handle this rehearsal with minimum losses. Italy, Spain, France, Germany, who is next? One liberal frontliner said once, "We shall leave once, but we shall slam the door as loud as we can." The masters of the gold reserves, Rothschilds and Morgans, are happy to see the rise of their price, which managed to pass $1,600, heading towards $2,000 per ounce. As soon as we see these prices tested, we can experience the reset I was talking about. The banksters were preparing for this. Even the blind could have seen them releasing the Basel III Act, which did return the gold its real life backed value in the bank assets and reserves. Elites are not ready for this. There are too many powerful players and the game is lost.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
We shall experience the total failure of the government pretty soon. And it brings their idea of the useless elites, useless sectors of economics.
Oh man, you just ran through a big pile of dog shit!
It happens.
What, shit?
Sometimes.
Like tourism, sports, and so on. The scared public will ruin each and every business that was focused on offline. Meanwhile, some elite members keep getting infected. The so-called crown controllers, the reset orders and the blue blood, humanoids, and liberal Democrats, brainwashed Satanist traitors, and the serpent Nike slaves, the Chinese, will use this pandemic to stop Trump, Putin, and other national players from re-electing. That is the only focus they have right now. Because it's obvious they will lose, for example, a lot more for Trump's action if he won't be stopped this year. We can see the collapse of not only stock market indexes, but also the collapse of the paradigm.
This is all illustrating a principle that we all know, which is we don't put all your eggs in one basket. And it also shows how much leverage China has over us. They don't ever have to fire a missile at us or shoot a gun. They can simply hold up the supply chain and say, sorry, you can't get into the port. Or, hey, we're flipping the switch, no electricity. So we willingly put ourselves at risk. Now, this goes to the top to bottom. I mean, in business school, this was part of the propaganda. Outsource all your production to China. They'll do the low-end stuff, we do the high-end stuff. What a joke that was. There was no national security discussion there. It was all about, hey, it's cheap, it's better, blah, blah, blah. So we now realize how dangerous that was.
Immigration has the same long-term effect as moving your production to the so-called cheaper labor countries like China or Vietnam. They take over your business and government positions, placing their people inside of your system. Let's make it clear, we can only see the top of the iceberg, but if you follow the money, you will have the same conclusions. Afghanistan Taliban deal. We can all remember the tragic but obviously scripted events of 9/11, George Bush's decision to occupy Afghanistan, although the Afghans had very little to do with 9/11. The real goal of US invasion was to capture back the influence in Central Asia, poke the Chinese, Iranians, Russians, so it's almost 20 years of this story, while some used to be brave Hollywood producers is preparing to get locked down for 23 years, switching the media focus from international script to the victory of local feminists. The Afghan Taliban gets the ex-US patrol territory under control, opening the way for the new setup situation of war, this time in Central Asia, involving everybody now. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Iran, Pakistan, India, China, ex-Soviet republics of Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan, backed by Russia and partly by Turkey, and some other players starting to regroup there.
After 18 months of talks and nearly 2 decades of war, the US and the Afghan Taliban have just signed a long-awaited deal aimed at paving the way to peace and the departure of foreign troops.
This agreement will mean nothing, and today's good feelings will not last if we don't take concrete actions. First, keep your promises to cut ties with Al-Qaeda and other terrorists. Keep up the fight to defeat ISIS.
If you haven't heard about the paradigm of big game or big chess play, you should study it. Every major war that occurred in the post-Mudflood world has built a military setup in the Central Asia area, now known as Afghanistan. So we can only watch how things are going to develop there. The US is not living in drug land. Still, Obama, Bush era CIA agents have kept control of the heroin production and supply routes to major destinations. So it's just reducing the presence cost for Trump, informing the sleeping cells of agents to evacuate the area. Trump has managed to leave his foot inside the door, just like he did in Middle East countries, trying to evacuate those failed agents of previous administrations, stopping this embarrassment for America at this perfect window of opportunity. Oil prices drop, stock markets reset, follow the money. When I was telling you guys about the upcoming financial reset this year, starting with stock markets and following with the monetary reset phase after the re-election of Trump, I was actually thinking about informing you people how can you save your money in the year of 2020. So it would be actually work if you guys would have sold all of your stocks in January and bought yourself some gold. Oil prices collapsed like 30% the next day after I made my last update. Stocks followed the bearish trend, pulling all major indexes. Only gold and some related commodities didn't suffer. The target stocks reset is the level of the Obama period. The oil price target level is $25-29 US per barrel of Brent. Gold targeted to reach $200 US per ounce. Now we are in the area of uncertainty where all the bubbles are getting ready to be blown up. Get your money out of the investment companies and banking programs as soon as you can. Use credit cards instead of paying debit money and cash. If you're employed in any offline businesses like insurance, public or cargo transportations and logistics, tourism, pharma, and perhaps other offline sectors of economics, watch out for a huge wave of crisis upcoming. Get your businesses out of that. I was telling you about the pre-flood ancient miners. and the war that ruined the gas empire, the so-called empire of Ross, then you won't be surprised to know that we have an oil and gas hybrid war just started again. So you can easily follow the money in every military conflict and find out that it's just another war between the miners. Miners were one of the clans that was involved in the previous resets and the mudsloods. They joined the Atlantis Trade Union and the Blue Bloods, Nagis hybrids, so-called Crown clan. I was talking about the Crown clan in the Crown and Red Bradbury. By the way, I was talking about the Bomberos, involvement of Bomberos establishment and governance in that playlist of videos. Everything is connected to the symbolism and the script of 19th century mudflood reset event. Okay, the players are the same, the methods are the same, and the results will also be the same. Okay, this is probably the final rehearsal or even the start of so-called 21st century reset if you wish. You have to understand that everyone is going to be a part of the scripted event, and it will be clear pretty much soon that we ain't gotta be afraid of aliens or some plasma discharge attack or whatever, or your favorite product disappearing from the stores. This is not the point. We the people will suffer amid the lack of truthful information and real life skills. And perhaps the survivors shall experience another brainwashing campaign. That's the agenda. That's what's scripted, and that's what's scheduled for us. Keep it safe, guys, and watch the PS. As I've told you before, guys, Putin managed not to leave power at all, and he was supposed to make some amendments, and he proposed some amendments into the following constitution, and everybody was thinking that he was gonna surprise us with something, but that was pretty much a really funny surprise, because I never expected the so-called cosmonauts, famous cosmonauts, one of the first cosmonauts, in fact, first female cosmonaut. She made a proposal that Putin should be left in place and his presidential terms should be erased so he can participate in further elections. Okay, because the constitution is accepting all those new amendments which are making these disproportion of the of the rights and the obligations of different new institutions, including the president. So this is what happening in front of our eyes. So my prediction that he's staying is getting a little bit closer to the actual life, and he's probably staying for maybe 1 or 2 more terms. So we can only guess what's going to be happening after 2024, and how soon all this stuff will be implemented into the real life, because it's in developing right in front of our eyes in Russia, along with all these campaigns that we see, all these media campaigns that we see amid the oil crisis. Oil prices drop, that was happening like a couple of days before, and the drop of the local currency, the ruble, has dropped a big time. So we have like a huge decline in our wealth if we had like actives in ruble and stuff like this. So probably we'll have more inflation this year, so everybody has become like a little more poor. But maybe this is not the end of the crisis, because what we're gonna experience this year is a huge financial reset, as I've said before. So because some expected him just to leave in this May. I don't know why they made such a conclusion, but that was what was expected. So Putin managed to stay. Good luck, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you later. I'll be updating these videos as soon as possible. Okay, see you later. Bye.